Yo, what's up, everybody? Oops. Alright, just give me 1 second. I'm going to push out the notification on like Facebook and everything that I'm live. Then after I do that, we will be good to go. Hope everybody's doing okay. Also gotta close that door. Oops, that's not what I wanted. Didn't want to do a message. I want to do a post. Andrew, I'm doing well, man. I am doing well. How are you doing, Andrew? Alright. Good, Andrew. Glad to hear that. Alright. We have posted onto YouTube. Give me 1 second. I'm just going to close this door over here because the noise from my basement drives me nutty. Alright, so I'm going to do a little bit of the same stuff as last week. This will probably be one of the last times we do a live stream like this. I think my next live stream, I'll probably be working on some of my thumbnails or something of that nature. I'm hoping I'm at that point at least. I don't want to get too far behind, but yeah, let's get started. Oh, I only have it at 1 minute. Let me edit my session. And my live streams, maybe next week, I'll probably do live streams that are like not silent, but I won't be talking nearly as much unless I see something in the chat, only because those live streams I'll have to concentrate really hard on what I want like the panels and stuff to look like while I'm thumbnailing. So just a heads up. Alright, let's get some of this in. Alright, that should be good. I'm not sure if y'all can hear that, but my dog's over there playing with his bone. He's so loud. He's such a tiny dog, too. It doesn't really make sense how loud that dog is sometimes. He's like literally like I think he's like a 16 or a 17 pound dog or something like that. He's just like a little terror. Love that little guy, though. Alright. This one is not coming out too great, but that's okay, because we are just now getting into it. So these are me just drawing raw for today, because I have not had any practice at all. The reason why I was late, and I am sorry for that, is because I had stuff I had to get done for work. I got a new job, or I got a promotion, I should say, and I get a new job. And I was getting some stuff done for work, and then I had to go get food for dinner tonight. So it took me a little longer than I was expecting, so that's why I didn't start at 5:30 like my normal time. Alright. So the reason why I said this one's kind of sloppy is because it's supposed to be tilted more that way. This came out looking pretty flat, but that's okay. The good news, though, is that you can look at it, or I can look at it, and I can tell what the problem is. So that only took me, 2 minutes to get that in? Not even, because I spent a little time reorganizing myself. So the reason why we do these things is to show ourselves, hey, it doesn't really take that long to get in something that looks like a human body. Use this as your structure, redraw it as many times as you need. Give me 1 second after I finish this one, and I gotta introduce y'all to my dog because he's just constantly like trying to jump in my lap as I'm doing the stream, so I'm sure you'll see him at some point anyways. Yeah, my foreshortening is a little off today. But again, it's a good thing that when you can tell. I guess my dog went away, so I guess I'm not going to show him to you. Andrew said, every time I finish my drawing, I realize how dumb I am because I'm not using any reference to draw stuff better. Yeah, I think that, like, I feel like I say this a billion times in, like, my videos, but people have this, like, misconception that artists, like, they just can spontaneously put something on a page and they don't have to use reference. Now, there's some truth to that. It's once you get used to drawing with reference and you don't have any more like questions as to whether or not you're drawing something correctly, then yes, but that takes years and years and years. Like comic artists that are professionals, you know, some of them can, but a good portion of them still have to find reference. Some of them take photos of themselves. That's the only way you learn. You don't really learn if you're just drawing from imagination. But I wouldn't say that it's not dumb. It's just like, you know, that's what you see other people doing. Like, I'm not that popular on YouTube at this point. And one of the reasons for that is because I am not at that level where I draw without reference. So you don't see people in this struggle period that I'm currently in, which is why I wanted to do this YouTube channel. You see people typically after they've gotten past that struggle, after they've broken through and they can do all those things from imagination. And so that's what we think is, you know, is what an artist is, and it's not the case. An artist is what I'm doing, or I'm not saying that I am like the archetype of an artist or something like that, but you don't see these struggles, right? But yeah, that's hopefully like what people get from my channel, is you get to see the struggles of what it takes to be an artist. Because I'm not quite there yet. I haven't been published yet, so I'm still not satisfied. And even when I am published, I won't be satisfied, right? Because I'll want my comic to be, you know, better, competing with other people that are either self-taught or at some point other professionals just in general. as far as my artwork is concerned, and hopefully like my story and stuff like that holds up to theirs if they're not just doing, you know, Marvel or DC or something like that, where it's like everybody already knows the story and all that good stuff. Next. That was by far my best one so far. Not even remotely close. I'm also like working right now on trying to limit the amount of strokes that I take, and not do a whole bunch of like what people call like searching lines. Trying to limit that because it helps your dexterity, but two, it also helps your eye. So like for this one, I just noticed that like I didn't leave any space for the neck. There's definitely benefits to drawing and not caring about your lines and what's happening, because it helps keep stuff feeling more dynamic. And I like, Scott Harris actually is the one that says that. I like that train of thought only because you're gonna go over it a couple of times anyways, so it doesn't necessarily matter if it looks nice at first, right? If you trying to make it look nice at first, if that's gonna make your drawings like super stiff and not very fun to look at, then what's the point, right? You might as well just be as sloppy as you want to be at first and get it in that way, and make it clean later. But not everybody agrees with that train of thought. Seven seconds. Got it in. Next. Alright, let me pause this and I'm going to show y'all my dog really fast, since he apparently wants to be on screen today. Come on, Bubs. Come on. Alright, everybody, this is Max. That's my pup. He's a good little dude. He always hangs out with me. He is my stress reliever. He always hangs out in his little bed over there while I'm drawing. Not always, but a lot of the times he does. Alright, bud, go lay down. Lay down. Go ahead. Nope. Give me 1 second. Now I gotta coax him into his bed. Give me 1 second. Alright, I am back. I think he got the idea. Alright. So what I'm trying to do on this one, and I'm not doing it very well, is I'm trying to not use the reference as much, and try to just get it in there, but it's not working very well. But this is how you progress from. So I'm going to keep trying it, even if it fails, but this is how you progress from, you know, using a lot of reference to not using reference much at all. Anytime you have like a question, you get it answered by looking at your reference. And this is also where speed comes from, right? The less you have to look at reference, the more, like, the quicker you're gonna get. That looks pretty decent. Andrew, let me just finish this up real quick. I got about 20 seconds and I'll look at what your comment was, buddy. Let's see here. Alright. Let's see what your comment is. So did you hear of this anime? It's named something like Baki, and they have a really weird art style. I have not. Let me look it up though. Are you talking about Baki the Grappler? That art style? Let me look here. Yeah, I've seen this before. It is an interesting art style. It's like it's almost like a mixture of the one that I'm thinking of is JoJo's, but I can't think of another, like the other anime that I'm thinking of or manga that I'm thinking of that it's like, but like the super like intense musculature reminds me of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, and the poses are pretty exaggerated because it's like, you know, they're kind of fighting and stuff that they do. But it's almost like it almost reminds me of like Attack on Titans with the like absurdity of the like musculature, because the way that this is drawn, like you see every single muscle in the body. One that takes a lot of talent to be able to do that, because you have to have that knowledge, but it's just like it ends up looking like almost grotesque in a way, but it could even be like JoJo's and Berserker kind of mixed in a way, because Berserker has like that kind of detail as well. Yep, it is a very interesting art style. You are right, Andrew. All right, next. Alright, I think I can probably come close to doing this one without using the reference. It's not too bad. I just, I mean, this is definitely a pose that could be. Sorry, let me pause this for a second. But this is definitely a pose that could be like a pose in like real life. Like the proportions aren't too far off and stuff like that. It's just like slight mistakes. Like the forearm isn't quite foreshortened enough. Right now I have it kind of like this, and well, which is just kind of wrong in general, because it should be, yeah, it needs to be more like that. But anyways, it needed to be probably like this, with the hand coming out here. What is that, thumb? But something like more like that. Maybe even exaggerate the connection point of the wrist a little bit more. But yeah, it needed to be just more foreshortened, but not a big deal. Next, this one is very difficult. I get it wrong very consistently. That is one thing I probably need to do. I need to update this because these poses, I'm just never, like this particular pose, I'll probably never draw it ever, like in my manga, and if I do, I have to use reference for it. So there's not really much of a reason for me to be using this within my gesture drawing stuff. Doesn't really serve a purpose besides for me to just try to do a difficult pose, which, yeah, that's fine, but if you're going to do a difficult pose, you might as well take your time and try to get it as right as possible and really learn something from it. The thing that I think I get wrong most often with this pose is this body is tilted much more than this. It's like more like that. The upper body, I mean. I think that the front would be somewhere in there. the knee is right in here. Lower leg is coming towards us. Foot coming towards us even more. I always run out of time doing this one. Alright, I'll take that for now. It's not perfect, but... And like this pose, like it doesn't really make sense either for me to do it. Like I'm sure I'll do kicking poses and stuff, but this is the kind of thing that you can just use reference for, you know. Yeah, that's something I'm gonna do for homework this upcoming weekend. Try to find some stuff, some new poses and stuff that are more standing poses that I can try to master. I'm struggling with this so hard. There it goes. I mean, it's still not great, but... Alright, so this leg is... coming towards... So is this one. Let's see here in this part of the leg. I don't necessarily agree with the way it is because it doesn't feel balanced, but it is an action pose, so I guess that makes a little bit of sense. Alright, this pose is one that I really love. I'm not really sure why I love it so much. I just think it's because it's so dynamic, but it's also one that I can pretty much do straight out of my eggnog here. Do you need to look? Okay. Yep. I mean, I did most of that from imagination, and that it came out decently, so I'll take it. All right, let's see how this one goes without using too much reference here. This is a pretty difficult pose because it is a crouching pose. So the problem with this one is, and this is good to know, because it's always good to know your tendencies when you draw from imagination. Oh, that was it. But the problem with this one wasn't actually the individual pieces that I was drawing, but it was, however, the overall balance of this character. And let me show you that in real time. So it needed to be like this. And actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this over here and I'm going to redraw it so you can really see. So I needed to take his hips and plant them like here, and then pull his leg up like I did. Oops. Then this one would have been like here. So now, like, his body is here, like the center of his gravity is like there. First of all, his arm's way too big, but and now he feels more balanced because there's almost an even amount on each side, which says that he could probably be in that position for a decent amount of time without falling over or what have you. Oops. This leg can go a little further back into space. There we go. So for those of you who are wondering, how do I get from drawing stuff with reference to drawing from imagination? This would be my answer to you. You do stuff like this, where you attempt to draw things that you've drawn before from imagination, and then you're consistently checking yourself to see how well that's going. Alright, and that way, like I said, you can kind of find your own mistakes and figure out, like, hey, like, you know, I have a tendency to not draw foreshortening well, or I have a tendency to flatten things out, or I have a tendency to make things unbalanced. And that's all, you know, all that stuff's really important. Alright, so for this last, like, I'll probably draw for like another 10-15 minutes. I'll do faces and kind of show you a little bit of how you can make a face look at least semi-consistent from angle to angle. So let's start off with a front view. I wonder if y'all can hear my dog. He's trying to jump in my lap again. Alrighty. It is not a very even head. Let's see if I can split it down the middle a little bit better. Head is crooked. So, you know what we do? Yeah, you can see this side has way too much going on here. And this is one of the tendencies that I have that I've been trying desperately hard to get rid of. It's hard, man. These habits, once you get them, hard to break them. Alright. So this is good enough. Ain't gotta be super perfect. Alright. So, quick reminder, facial proportions. You go about halfway down the head, or down the face, whatever you want to call it. That is where your brow line is. If you take that and this distance right here, split it in half again. I find a lot of the times for me it's around where the bottom of that circle is, but regardless, this is where the nose is, and then you split this section into thirds. That's where the mouth is. This area in here, if you split this upper part kind of in half again, this is the general area where the eye sockets are. So your eye sockets are going to be like right in there. Your ear, it's going to start like kind of right in this range, like in between, like halfway in between like your eye socket is kind of where I measure it at. It might not be perfect, but it goes up to where the the brow line is, and then it comes down to where the nose is at the bottom. Neck, depending on if it's a male or female. What is that? Jeez. Depending on whether it's a male or female character, your neck can be a little wider or a little thinner. Just depends. This is a male character, so I will make the neck a little thicker. Your jawline is going to start to come inwards around where your mouth is, and that's because your your mouth is kind of at the halfway point of your jawline in a way, and where the hinge is, where that's connected at, that's that's where your mouth opens. That's how your mouth opens. So like the upper part of your mouth always stays the same distance from your the bottom of your nose to the bottom of the upper part of the mouth, and the only part that moves is the bottom. See? So if you take this distance right here and then split that in half, you're gonna get about where the hairline is. I go a little bit over the half for this particular part. Alright, so that is the general guideline. So let's go ahead and draw a quick face. Some like key parts about drawing eyes that I feel like people kind of get wrong is there's like relationships that matter, even if you want to exaggerate. So for instance, one of them is this line from here to here is typically diagonal that way. The other relationship is that it can't be bigger than the eye socket. I feel like people think about anime or manga and they think huge eyes, and they don't necessarily understand that the structure of the face also has to work with that. But that's really about it. Like eyes are like they're complex, but they're fairly like simple. Alright, and then I'm gonna draw the eyebrows. There's also this like relationship between the edge of your eye right here and the eyebrow. There's like this like hook right in here almost. And then there's another one right here. this area is what they call the keystone. So the keystone of your face, this part right here, is going to help your characters look consistent. So it's something you want to kind of concentrate on. But that area, it stops about midway where your eyes are. So as you can see, like I got that here. And then it bridges back out for your actual nose. Let me see something here. This character's jawline is a little too long. Should probably end right about here. So that was a problem with my measurement in the beginning, but that's alright. We just correct and we go. So I think one of the things too that people have difficulty with at times is like aging people. Because most of manga and stuff of that nature is like, it's teens or people that are pretty close to the teen range, and it doesn't call for very much. I'll probably do this and then I'll probably stop, but it doesn't really call for you to do too much in regards to like aging people. So I'm gonna kind of teach you some of the things that you might want to know if you want to age somebody. So the first thing is just like wrinkles and like where to put them. So I need to do a better job myself of just facial anatomy. Wow, these ears, horrible. Horrible ears. Sorry, let me fix this. Alright, that feels a little better at least. Alright, so, man, I'm such a perfectionist. I mean, it's not a bad thing when it comes to art, but whatever. We'll move on. It's not perfect, but we'll move on. So, aging. So when you want to age a character, you can do that in a few ways. One is wrinkles. and lines and things of that nature. 2 is understanding the facial anatomy and understanding where fat pads are going to start to like kind of fall and stuff like that, because as we get older, our fat pads just decide they don't want to work anymore. So for instance, also just facial structure. So teenagers and young adults tend to have like chubbier cheeks still and things like that. As you get older, your facial structure is going to start to show through. So like just doing that makes them look a little older. And then if I do this, even older, then you can start to add wrinkles all over. Another thing is that the eyes would go from like this shape that I have going on to maybe like this shape, and then eventually this shape as the eyes start to droop down. But as you can see, like just with what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines, 6 lines, I've aged this character considerably. Like he went from maybe looking like he was like in his 20s to now looking like he's 40-ish, 50-ish maybe. So that's how you would age a character. Maybe I'll do a video on that real soon. Like I can just literally do what I just did in like a 15-minute video and kind of explain it. I probably wouldn't even have to do notes or anything. But yeah, that's how you would do that. For consistency, like this isn't gonna be perfect, so just bear with me. But oops. You just have to know your structure and the proportions, right? So, I did halfway, so half of this, like what, right in here, brow line, nose, jaw. So it's just a matter of consistency and perspective. This isn't going to be perfect because I still have to take my time when I do this for my characters, but hopefully it'll help you understand. And this will actually be the last thing that I do. But it's hard to be inconsistent if you know your structure and the proportions of the face and things like that. And I think that's where I know, like, I struggle a lot when I was trying to learn all of this stuff. And trying to like create consistent looking characters, I get really frustrated, and it's literally the only reason why I couldn't do it is because I didn't know the proportions or the structure necessary to create a consistent character. Like I said, this one's not going to be perfect. I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but you'll get the picture. His chin's a little pointier than that. Okay. So now I can like, this isn't perfect, but, you know, if I worked on it for a little bit longer, I could get it to eventually pass for the same character, right? But that's all it is, really. Like, it's your ability to use the structure of the face to your advantage and create. Sorry, give me 1 second. This nose is bugging me. And then create something that looks like the character, right? And it's all relationships in comparison to one another. So yeah, that's how you would do that. The thing that I'm noticing right off the bat is just like, it's always this case for me. It's just something I need to work on personally, but the mouth wasn't quite right. It was a little too high. See, look, I mean, to me that looks, it's not good. Like, you couldn't just take this and put it right into a comic, but it's because it's just really super rough. But that's way too much in the back. But with that being said, they look similar, right? They look similar enough where if, like, a quick glance, you'd be like, oh, it's, you know, it looks like the same character. But, like, just small details like you know, corrections here and there would make it even more so, right? Like, one of the things I'm currently seeing is I think that the eyes are just a little too low. So something like that might make the case a little bit more that it looks like the same character. And you just correct like that. But this is why character sheets too, I'm like all over the place. That's why character sheets are so important as well. You figure all this stuff out while you're doing your character sheets. And oh, I'm sorry guys, I didn't see y'all's messages. Yes, Spider-Man art is great for that. I'm really sorry. I didn't notice that my messages were going off, and so I'm sorry about that. Don't K. But yeah, so like, you know, your character consistency, once you get your character sheets done, it's literally just referring back to your character sheets. But this is what it is, right? You draw and then you make small corrections until it looks like the same character. And then after it looks like the same character, you move on to your next facial expression and angle and stuff like that. And you do as many angles as you can in the very beginning. Like in the character sheet. And then when you go to your comic, it's not the first time that you're drawing that character's face in that angle. But anyways, I appreciate everybody that came into the stream. I'm gonna keep, you know, streaming on Wednesdays. You know, at some point, I'm sure it'll catch. A whole bunch of people will be coming in. But I do appreciate everybody that does. And hopefully, you know, I just want more people to come in so y'all can all have conversations amongst each other. But anyways, I appreciate everybody. Love y'all. I'm Manga Mike. And I'm out. Hey, Donkey, no problem at all. You know, sorry that I didn't see your message earlier. But I appreciate you dropping in and commenting and everything like that. I'll be back next Wednesday at around 5:30 or 6 Eastern Standard Time. All right. Peace.